Welcome to this exercise. We will be looking at the basic select statement. This will be core to all of the SQL statements that we'll be doing in the future. Inside the text area of MySQL Workbench, type the statement, use Chinook semicolon. This SQL statement tells MySQL that all of the following commands will be executed against the Chinook database. From the end of the use Chinook statement, hit enter a couple of times to move your cursor down in your text window. Now type the following statement. Select star from album semicolon. Again, highlight just this single statement and hit the execute key. Notice that the results window now show all of the data from the album table. We can scroll up and down through the results set to view all of the entries in that table. A couple of things I want you to notice about the statement that we just typed. First, the SQL commands select and from I've put in capitals. The album, which is the name of the table, I've put in lowercase. This is by SQL convention, but let me show you that other syntaxes here will also work. I am typing in select star from album again, but this time I'm typing the SQL commands in lowercase and hitting execute. Notice that I get the same result set as before. Let's bring in a data from a second table by typing select star from artist. Go ahead and execute that and view the data from artist. Highlighting both SQL statements at the same time and executing them returns two result sets to the bottom of the screen. Notice I can tab between the two different result sets to view both the album data and the artist data in the results window. Now let's look at the impact of the semicolon. Each SQL statement that we've typed up until this point in time has ended in a semicolon. But what if I leave the semicolon off and execute my SQL statement? Notice that in the lower results window I get an error message. This is because MySQL looks at the semicolon to tell it when the end of the statement happens, and I've combined two statements together. If I remove the semicolon from the final statement, MySQL is fine with this. It views the physical end of every statement as being the end of the SQL command. The MySQL Workbench schema section helps us with creating our SQL statements by giving us a list of tables and columns. Let's take a look at how this works. By clicking on the expand arrow underneath Chinook, we see a list of objects under the database. By clicking on tables, we see a list of tables. Clicking on an individual table, we see columns within that table. Up until now, all of the statements that we have written have used an asterisk as a wildcard to bring in all columns from the tables that we wanted to view. Now we're going to write a statement that defines the columns individually and allows us to select just some set of the columns or change the order in which we want to view the columns. So let's go ahead and let's type in select title from album and hit execute. Notice that the result set returns only the column title from the album table. We'll continue with this by adding a second column to our select query. And in this case, I'm going to bring in the artist ID and the title of the album. Notice that in my result set, I show the title, I show the artist ID, and then I show the title again. Later on in the course, we will be writing SQL statements where we'll want to bring in a column more than once. But I want to differentiate between the two instances of the columns. And we can do that by aliasing or giving that column a different name. So type it as I have here, where I give the first title the name album title. We notice in the results set now that I show album title, artist ID, and title separately. This is the end of this exercise. Thank you for participating.